Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. Now, I apologise first of all about the lighting. I mean, we're in December now, so it's never going to be really light outside. It's only light for about an hour, and I have got my ring light, but I have ordered a box light, which I hear because you guys know, if you watch my videos, technology and lighting and things like that isn't my strong point, but I'm trying to improve and I have ordered a box light, so hopefully my face won't be as shiny, and it looks a little bit yellowy now, so I apologise anyway for that, and hopefully on my next video it will improve. Today, as you will be able to see by the title of the video, I am going to be doing a Q&A. Now, on my Q&As, I love doing them and I tend to just get really involved in every single question. So in this Q&A, I thought I would do a real quick fire Q&A, and I asked the questions on my story. I always get so many questions, and I almost think like, if it was me as well, I would sometimes feel a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to ask that question in public. So I always find when I ask the questions on my story, I just get really good questions. And so I've picked out 13. Now I know that that's seems quite a lot, but I'm gonna really hopefully make them short and sweet. So let's get on with the questions. So I have got this book, I Was Not Made to Be Subtle. I love paper chases. First of all, how did you meet your boyfriend? I don't know if I've said this before. I think I might have done. I might have said it on my stories as well on Instagram. But I actually met Henry in a place called The Prince near where I live. It's in Fulham, and it's like a going out kind of bar. And I only briefly met him through our mutual friend, and it was just literally say hi in a bar, and he was with a group of lads, I was with a group of girls, and he did say now that I was quite standoffish, and I'm never like that, so I think that's a lie, but anyway, he says that. A few weeks later, I was in Cornwall with my family playing Scrabble. I am the worst person ever at Scrabble, but my family are amazing because they're all extremely intelligent, and I put on my story my Scrabble letters, and I was like, what do I make with this? And he replied and said that makes my surname or something like that. And I was like, I know this guy. I've seen this guy before. And so, speak of the devil. Hello, love.
Good morning, Angel. How are you?
I'm good, love. How are you?
Yes, I'm a little bit hungover and very tired.
Oh no, are you on your bike? I had to cut Henry off. Also, there's banging starting next door because, yes, they are continuing to do work on that blooming house. So how did we meet? Yeah, he dropped into my DMs. He replied to a story about a Scrabble question, and I suppose that just really sums him up because he is a real nerd, to be honest, I am. He does live quite far away from me, so he lives in East London, I live in Southwest London at the moment. We just clicked straight away. We're not spending Christmas Day together, but we're spending a lot of time around Christmas together at each other's families. So yeah, just really happy, and I quite like to keep him as private as I can do. But obviously he's a massive part of my life, so I do occasionally, he does pop up on my stories, but I want to continue to keep him kind of out of this world. Second question, how long do you work out in a typical session for? I would say 45 minutes to an hour. For weight training sessions, I never really spend more than 50 minutes. I did read something saying that women especially shouldn't work out for extended periods of time because it just causes a lot of stress on our bodies. If I am doing, say, cardio, I normally do that separate to my weights training sessions. I am really into the Stairmaster at the moment, which I know people find quite weird, but I've got into a bit of a habit now that I have my car in London, and I used to get the tube to the gym all the time. It's not actually that far away in distance, but I've realised if I get up early in the morning, which I always do, literally put on a cap, no makeup, put on my gym stuff, trainers, drive to the gym at like 6 o'clock. I can spend a little bit of time doing cardio there and park outside for free. So I've got into a bit of a morning routine. And third question, does it make sense to track veggies in a diet? I assume you mean tracking them on MyFitnessPal. Now, I don't use MyFitnessPal at the moment and I don't track my macronutrients. However, I have done a lot of times in the past. Now, when I was so strict, and I wouldn't advocate this at all, I used to track things like green beans, and that was when I was like competition shredding lean. But there are some vegetables that have more calories than others. But I think you've just got to like think about the bigger picture. I was talking to Laura, my best friend, about this, and it's like when you start getting concerned about like green vegetables in your diet and tracking them as calories, like you just got to think about the bigger picture, really. I don't think that's a really good way to be. There are some vegetables that aren't necessarily green vegetables that do have more calories in than others. So I suppose it depends how strict you want to be. But for me, I would just say eat all the fruit and veggies you want, because they have so much good stuff in there for you. Just, yeah, go right ahead. 4, how much do you spend on food a week? So I ease out more than I should do. I know that because I work from home technically, but I don't really like to spend a lot of time at home. I am more productive when I go out, and especially now there has been this really amazing place open called Megan's. It's kind of brunchy, lunchy, cafes, restaurants, but it's got such a good vibe. And there's one that's just opened near where I live, literally 10 minutes walk away, and the music's just so chilled and people go in there to work, just plug your laptop in, coffee, but it is quite expensive. And I tend to get like my same eggs, avocado and maybe some mushrooms on the side, and like for that, with one piece of sourdough, it's like £10, and then like coffees and everything, and it kind of does add up a day. I do like my Starbucks coffee. I suppose if I was going on more of like the saving money bandwagon, I would meal prep, which I do occasionally, and I suppose it'd be like maybe £50 a week. But yeah, I do go out to eat too much, and that is one of my things in January. I'm doing definitely a dry January, and I am going to make sure I eat out less for saving money. What are your thoughts on fitness trackers? So I assume you mean like Lifesum and MyFitnessPal. I did use MyFitnessPal for a long time, and it is a very good tool. That's what it is. It's a really good tool for knowing what you're eating, and because I use it for so long, I can quite easily eyeball stuff. I know what's in food roughly. I know what food agrees with me. I know how to make a well-balanced meal. So even though I don't track macros at the moment, I would suggest loosely tracking your calories and macros for a little bit of time at least, not in an obsessive way, just to know what is in what you're eating and what 100 grams looks like, and what, you know, 40 grams of oats looks like, and things like that. It's just, I think especially like really high calorie dense foods that are still really good, for example like peanut butter or almond butter, there are so many calories in like a tablespoon of peanut and almond butter, and it's so easy to massively overdo it without actually realizing. So I would definitely suggest checking macros if you haven't done before. Why did you have your breast augmentation? The reason being was because I was completely out of proportion. My lower body was massively bigger than my upper body, and I just felt a little bit uncomfortable, and also one breast was slightly bigger than the other, and so I got it done for those reasons really. And it was kind of a little bit before I started fitness. It was definitely before I started really Instagram, so I didn't like document. I understand why people document their procedure and stuff who are almost already in it, because it's like, oh, you've changed, you're recovering. And I would find it, oh, I've watched them before, the videos, and I find them really interesting. But because it was such a while ago now, I don't really talk about it that much. I haven't got any problem with surgery at all. I think it's kind of dangerous when you do kind of say you shouldn't get surgery, because if you have a little bit of something to make yourself feel better, then you kind of do it, and you go through stages of your life and you think different things. So no, I'm not against surgery, as long as you do your research and as long as you are doing it for the right reasons. How do you stay on track during the holidays? So I've just mentioned before on, I think it was it the second question? It was a question anyway, that I've really started getting into the Stairmaster. I just think when you, obviously December that we're in, there's full of events, there's full of things, like I'm going to Amsterdam next week, I've got the Gymshark party next week, and it's just massively go, go, go. So I would say on the days that you've got like, you're not going out or doing anything, really try and focus in on those days and try and stay on track, stay on your diet. Maybe if you can only fit 3 sessions in a week instead of your 5 workouts that you normally do, make sure those 3 sessions are high intensity stuff, that you make sure that you are getting your heart rate fully up and you work really, really hard. If you aren't motivated at the moment, make sure maybe you book onto a class. I know in London we have just such a wide range of classes that are amazing that you can book onto. I went to a spin class the other day. And also I would say make sure you have a really good breakfast, like a really wholesome breakfast, that you know that if it kind of later on throughout the day that you have a few snacks or chocolates or a few drinks, that you know that you've had some nutrients and some good quality food that you enjoy. You compare yourselves with others on social media. So I would say occasionally, like everyone goes through those phases, but now I am really like tactical of what I consume. If you follow me on Instagram and have seen the amount of people that I follow, I really don't follow that many people. And also, which is weird because Instagram is my job, my main job anyway, that I don't spend ages like literally going scrolling through my phone, because sometimes if we do that, it's almost aimless and we're like taking in things and we're like, what are you actually looking at? You're just scrolling at nothing. And also because social media is my job, I am well aware that a lot of the time that people only post the highlights. Like, that is a natural thing to do. It doesn't matter if your business is on social media or if you've got 100 followers and you just want to post yourself looking good in a nice outfit. Like, it's always going to be people's highlights. So I take everything with a pinch of salt. Obviously I get inspiration from other people, and obviously there are times where I'm like, oh god, she's got great legs, I wish my legs were like that. But there aren't many times like that anymore, because you just got to do yourself. And I know that sounds really cliche, but yeah, it's a good way to be. What are your biggest insecurities? You know what, previously, which is a weird thing, I would say massively about body hang-ups up until recently. Sorry guys, if you can hear that drilling, I know, it's annoying me too. So I would say probably my biggest insecurities is how rubbish I am with accounts and finance. Not like I spend, because I'm really not a big spender except for food. I'm not a big spender, but I find it very hard managing and get very anxious about my accounts, because I never did business. I get concerned about just business in general because I never learned it like at school. I was a teacher, I used to be a teacher, so worked for someone else. So I think just being like a self-employed person, I kind of do worry a little bit about that, because I don't really know that much about the business side. I think my biggest insecurity is feeling inadequate or not good enough at something. So eating what you want but training more, or having a good diet but training less. Now I can answer this question without any kind of doubt at all. It's always going to be eating a little bit less, controlling your diet rather, and training less. Now, it's such a widely known phrase. You cannot train yourself out of a bad diet, and that is totally true. I think some of us, and I was definitely guilty of this at one point, think that training and going to the gym burns more calories than it actually does. Or it's not me saying like starve or don't eat at all, but going and having like a massive amount of food afterwards and thinking, oh, I've trained so it's gonna be fine, it's often not. And actually in the CrossFit world, which I'm kind of trying to like not get into because I'm not a CrossFitter but do more functional fitness, that's often the case with CrossFitters, that they have like brutal training session, and yeah, it's, you need to refuel afterwards, but they often put like mounds of peanut butter on and like loads of stuff and eat so much, and their appetite sometimes, if you overtrain, your appetite goes through the roof, and sometimes yeah, it's just counterproductive. So I would always say just control your diet and train a little bit less. If you know, it should definitely be that way around. Is there an ideal way to approach a girl in the gym? So oh, me and Emma, when we go train, we've had some right instances with guys, and there's a lot of times, and I sense that this one is, yeah, it's a way of going around it, which is a nice way, because obviously the gym is a massive pickup place. First of all, when I go into the gym, especially in the morning when I've got my hat on and no makeup on, like I said, I literally want to put my AirPods in and do my thing. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone. But I think maybe if you are like next to them, maybe say like, oh, are you using this weight? Or just maybe even eye contact first of all, and just gauge their reaction. I think that's the thing. You need to just kind of know their reaction, because the last thing you want to do is intimidate someone or make them feel a little bit nervous. So maybe if you're going in at the same time every day, if you're going, like, say if you know you go in with the girl that you fancy doing like at 7 a.m, I think it's just like small steps and building that kind of, I don't know, building that relationship up, as it were, and just kind of saying little things every time you go in. Maybe smile at them, you know, just be approachable. I think that's the thing. You don't want to intimidate someone. And I know that's a very vague answer, and I think it's because often I go in and like just want to do my thing, and I'm like, I don't really want to talk to anyone. But I know for some people it's definitely a hot spot for pick up some dates. First steps to building muscle. Okay, so resistance weights training is very, very key to building muscle. I would say I was a cardio queen, and also because I was a cardio queen, I overate as well, which was, like I said, counterproductive. So when I started resistance weights training, I just noticed a lot more definition. You feel stronger, your posture is better, but definitely a good diet and resistance weights training, and focusing on trying to increase the weight a little bit or the reps a bit. So that is progressive overload, and that is how you make progress on building that muscle. Also, I found with definitely glute training, activation is key. I'm very, very quad dominant, especially when I was competing. I thought I just need to lift heavy all the time, and that is the only way, but my form was a bit off, and I definitely wasn't targeting the areas that I wanted to. So I like to use like a lot of bands. If you can't feel where you're supposed to be targeting, you're probably doing it a little bit incorrectly. So yeah, just trying to squeeze and feel the muscle when you are training. Okay, this is going to be the last question. Are you going to set yourself some goals for the upcoming new year? Yes, and I already have set myself some goals. I definitely want to travel a lot more, which I'm going to next year. I need to move out my house. So where I am now, that is going to be January. So I will still be living in London, but maybe a different part of London. I'm not sure as yet. I have re-signed with 2 of my sponsors. I have left Ghost, like I said, and I am joining another company in January. So you will see about that then. And I also want to grow my own brand and business, so there are some upcoming things in the pipeline. It's all very exciting. I am so looking forward to 2019, like ridiculous amount. But I really hope you've liked this video, guys. I hopefully will edit it for Sunday or Monday, so I hope you've had a great weekend. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.